Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to do just a little bit of research or just dig into two particular synagogues that we find around the Galilee region. It's two different synagogues that are built differently and look different, and they both give us a bit of an insight at the differences that we find across different synagogues in Israel. From the town of Magdala, on the western shore of the Sea of Galilee, if you look up towards the west, you'll see Mount Arbel rising above the land. It's an impressive landmark, and it has a long and important history. But between Mount Arbel and the nearby Mt Nitai runs a valley called Wadi Hammam. This valley has always been a main road from the Sea of Galilee up towards Nazareth. Of course, most of us probably realize that Jesus grew up in Nazareth, and so it's almost entirely possible, if not certain, that Jesus himself would have walked along this path, and probably not just once or twice, but probably fairly regularly. Both mountains are full of caves, which is actually really quite interesting. Some were used even by rebels hiding from the Romans. When Rome sacked Jerusalem, they went all the way around the countryside trying to find rebels hiding. And other groups would have also been there. We would know these as the Essenes. In these caves, archaeologists have found ritual baths, or what would be more commonly known as mikvahs, and even synagogue spaces actually carved out in the rock itself. This shows that people didn't just hide here for a short amount of time. They actually lived here, they worshipped here, they created ways of being able to live life in an extended fashion here in these mountains. What's also interesting, because there are mikvahs, we can see that, well, they also worked out how to collect water, how to store water, which also, obviously, if you can do that for a mikvah, you can do it for your own drinking supply as well. On top of Mount Arbel, there are remains of a synagogue dating back from around about the 2nd to the 4th century. It's simple, it's built in what we call a Galilee style. That means it's a rectangular shape, stone benches around the inside walls and entrances on the south side. It has no mosaics. What makes it important is that it gives us a clear picture of how small, rural, dare I say even poor, communities built their synagogues in the centuries after the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem. Down in the valley, near the ruined village of Wadi Hammam, another synagogue has been found. This one dates from around about the 2nd to the 3rd centuries, and it's really different. It's a massive contrast between the two. This second one, it has a mosaic, including pictures of people and scenes connected with the Bible. Archaeologists would say that that's actually fairly unusual for that time period, because most synagogues of this time avoided human images. So archaeologists see this as a unique example telling us that Jewish communities didn't all worship in the same way. In fact, you might even think about it kind of like denominations today, that across the different Christian denominations, a lot of them will worship in slightly different ways, and the same is said to be true at this point in time in history in synagogues. Not every region or every synagogue worshipped like everybody else. Some were very cautious and plain, while others were creative and expressive. So why are these sites important? First, they show us two very different kinds of synagogue architecture. One simple and functional, the other decorated with unique mosaics. The second, they remind us of how communities use the land itself, carving caves, baths, and worship spaces into the very rock that they found themselves living in. Thirdly, they give us insight into how Jewish faith and practice continue to develop after the temple was destroyed. And what does this mean for us today? Well, I guess there's a number of things that this means. That we have been walking in the footpath of the narrative of salvation that Yahweh gives to his people, to his followers. But we're going to express that in slightly different ways, and we see that in church today. But we also saw it almost 2,000 years ago. Well, thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you at the next video. Thanks, everyone. Bye.